I'm not a doctor or an expert, but I have struggled with depression and anxiety in the past, so I can speak from experience. I was a bit lost, but eventually determined to dig my way out of the doldrums I felt. It is especially tough for those of us who are awake because, like the sun, the truth is brilliant, but hard to look at sometimes. There were several things that helped me along the way, and I hope they help you. The chemical endorphins released into your system from laughter are healing, and they feel good as well. Laughter also breaks down the spiritually indigestible pain or trauma that you are hanging on to. When I was struggling during a tough time in my life, I bought a bunch of stand-up comedy CDs from various comedians and just listened to them in the car for months. It helped a lot. Thank you, Louis C.K. There really is no downside to exercise other than being careful not to injure yourself and keeping tabs on heart rate. I found the more I did, the better I felt. I got out a lot of toxic emotions and energy I was holding on to subconsciously through physical exertion. After all, sweat is one of the main ways your body expels toxins, so it's both beneficial physically and mentally as well. I used to be a high school teacher, and I would give extra credit to kids who would just turn off their cell phones, turn off the TV, their video games, social media, whatever for a day, meet up with their friends, and just go for a walk for at least a mile and have a conversation. You have the best conversations on walks because you're both faced in the same direction instead of opposed, like a boardroom. And walking releases endorphins so you can open up and have a genuine talk. Many Americans especially live in relative isolation. Many of us are missing a support system. I feel like I have that now, but for many years I didn't feel like I had anything of the sort, and loneliness can creep in fast. Meet with your best friend and have that long walk once a week. Maybe afterward go to a movie, have a meal, have a drink, whatever. Make it fun, make it something to look forward to, and a sense of calm will take over. It makes you feel like you're part of a community and that you're accepted for exactly who you are and how you think. Refined sugar is essentially a neurotoxin, and if it were not for some of the vitamins and minerals in our bodies, it would be deadly poisonous. You will see a huge difference just cutting out soda pop alone, but if you reduce or eliminate refined sugar, only good will come of it. Want proof that corporations lie? Look at these ads for sugar from the 1950s before people were somewhat educated on nutrition. Magnesium is kind of amazing. Often people with depression and anxiety are also magnesium deficient. Refined sugar also depletes magnesium in the body, so yet another reason to cut it out. I would suggest getting a magnesium supplement and seeing if it works for you. It's pretty amazing stuff. I get more enjoyment out of getting rid of stuff than I do buying it in the first place. Clutter doesn't just invade your space, it invades the clarity of your mind. You'll be able to have that laser focus once you organize your workspace and your living space. You can also pick up extra money by selling your things on eBay and Craigslist, or you can donate and give your stuff away, which feels good. I make several trips a year to Goodwill. My philosophy is this: don't have a lot of stuff, but the stuff you do have, make sure it's excellent quality. That way you don't have random, mismatched stuff lying around. You don't have to replace or upgrade things all the time. And you get rid of clutter, physically and mentally. It also feels like you have a new start. If you find yourself always thinking about the past, you'll become depressed, wondering if you made the right choices, pondering how you got here in the first place. If you think about the future, you'll have anxiety, worrying about what will happen and how to deal with whatever comes your way, triggering the reptilian brain. This is a trap. Yes, it's fine to plan a trip and it's okay to think back to learn from your past, but generally speaking, people do this way too much. Be in the moment and enjoy the time you have right now. Enjoy the small pleasures in life. Turn your phone off, stop texting for a minute, shut down your email for a bit, and be here right now. Most people worry about things that haven't happened yet but might happen. That gets you on a frequency band that attracts the very thing you are trying to avoid. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So stay in the moment as best you can. Also, learn to meditate for 5 to 10 minutes a day, but do it in your own way. Don't listen to those that tell you there's a right and a wrong way. There is not. I tend to visualize things and break concepts down into visual metaphors. I visualize peace, an ideal house, garden, friends, neighbors who are awake, blue skies devoid of toxic chemicals, people and animals emanating happiness. That is my daily meditation. I also visualize a field of protection around me every day, but that's it. Find what works for you and don't listen to any guru who tells you there's a certain way to meditate. There is not. Find your own way. I recommend getting rid of or at least reducing cell phone use. If nothing else, learn to use airplane mode so that you're not being radiated while having it next to your body or while you sleep. Your depression might be exacerbated by Wi-Fi, cell phone usage, cordless phones, cell towers, things like that in your near vicinity, or other wireless technology like smart meters. Electromagnetic frequencies are on par with chemical or biological weapons. They can and have been weaponized. We are just too busy playing Angry Birds and watching football to notice. Plug your internet in directly. Old school wires are your friend. Get rid of Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and all wireless devices completely. You'll feel lighter and more like yourself. This one is tough. We are allowing ourselves to be sprayed like cockroaches, but politicians won't listen and the media will call us conspiracy theorists and crackpots when we talk about it. But then again, I remember being called crazy when I mentioned that the NSA was spying on us, and after the already well-known truth came out and Snowden leaked the information, I never did get an apology. You're not crazy. The world is crazy. Chemtrails are real, geoengineering is happening, and we are being exposed to war-grade chemicals on a daily basis, and it must come to an end. Until then, I recommend using orgonite to mitigate the harmful effects of chemtrails and geoengineering. I also recommend foot baths that can help release heavy metals out of the feet. I have found ionic foot detoxes, sometimes called foot baths, are extremely effective and immediate because they draw the toxins from the feet where they collect in the body. So look for a Chinese massage or Chinese medicine clinic in your area and schedule one. I also recommend simply staying indoors on extremely heavy chemtrail days. Some people are sensitive and we must stop calling them overly sensitive. That is insulting and frankly wrong. It's more likely that people are not sensitive enough. We must embrace and care for people that are operating at such a high level of empathy and understanding that they can feel energy, they can feel empathy, and they can sense things. This is a higher state, not a lower one. People that claim they have an iron constitution are often just better at accepting their programming and, dare I say, slavery. Maybe sensitive people are actually more highly evolved and less tolerant of the normal way that people are used and abused in this world. So for those of you who are sensitive, let me ponder this with you for a moment. When people are bullied on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, social media, they are affected. Words matter because they have intention and frequency. You are dealing with a toxic energy field, literally. If it's bothering you, get rid of it. Get rid of social media, get rid of your comment boards, and just leave it behind you like the wake of a boat. You're not running away, you're just not exposing yourself to verbal abuse. It's not normal. This is something that we're getting used to, but it's not good. If you can't do that, then at least limit your exposure to it. It's a trap. It's hurtful and it devolves into stupidity 99% of the time. There are exceptions, but they are very rare. Zen Gardner's web board is an example of a nice community, but it's just so rare. Think about growing up as a teenager in this system, only knowing being verbally attacked and abused on a daily basis. It has to be traumatic. It's a behavior control system, like the telescreen in Orwell's 1984. I have personally rid myself of social media for 2 years now, and I turn off all my comment sections on YouTube. It's the best choice I have ever made, and I recommend young people just leave it behind. It's ironic to me that so many people are great at pointing out the trauma, emotionally, physically, psychologically, that is happening in our world. And yet the response is just deal with it, Pull up your bootstraps and just take it. Part of being a man. Not everyone is a walking archetype. Not everyone is Clint Eastwood or John Wayne, and I would venture to guess that neither are they. We are all, as a human race, going through tremendous amount of trauma, and we have to understand that, and we've got to empathize and sympathize with them and stop just telling them to deal with it. It's too hard. It's too much. So rather than not have them do what they're supposed to be doing and follow their calling and get the word out there because they're afraid of being constantly abused and threatened, maybe we should be a little bit more sympathetic and understanding to these people and know that their sensitivity is actually their strength. And let's pat them on the back and tell them that they're very courageous for what they're doing. Let's not just talk about how they have to have a thicker skin and the world is a tough place, kid. And no, Let's take them under our wing and encourage them rather than discourage them. Positive reinforcement is always better than negative reinforcement, so let's take it easy on each other and let's stop that dialectic and let's stop being divided and conquered and let's help each other out. We're all in the trenches, we're all being traumatized, and we need to be a little bit more kind. Otherwise, what world are we fighting for anyway? We might as well devolve into the New World Order and let them take over if we're going to be exactly the same as them. So let's show a little bit of kindness, let's show some humanity, and let's encourage our young women to be part of this community as well. We could use some of that sacred feminine and nurturing and not just being tough all the time. Number 12, get rid of the TV. Our subconscious records everything. There are subliminal messages, frequencies, and flicker rates that jam your natural thought processes and even help cause depression and anxiety. The special effects, the constant noise, the loud explosions, and bullets whizzing can really darken your mood. The randomness of it all just gets to you after a while. I haven't had TV for 2 years, and I love it. I catch my favorite shows on the internet sometimes with no commercials, and it's just so much better. Plus, it'll save you $100 a month and teach the cable monopolies a lesson as well. Win-win. Whenever you can afford it or acquire it, please do. If possible, plant your own garden. It's so much healthier. Also, try cooking with organic coconut oil instead of butter. Just try it. It tastes better, in my opinion, and it doesn't leave you feeling bloated. It's also got dozens of amazing positive health effects as well. But either way, try to get organic and non-GMO food as much as possible. Find what you're passionate about, and even though you have a busy life, make sure that you set some time aside to have at least one ongoing creative project to passionately work on in your spare time. If you don't have any spare time at all, it's time to make a change. That's just not healthy, and it's not fun. And you gotta remember to have fun, otherwise this life can close in on you pretty fast. If you start something, finish it. That is the only rule of art, in my opinion. It doesn't have to be a masterpiece. It doesn't have to be your best work. You just have to finish it, learn from it, put it out there, and start a new one. Do not concern yourself with what other people think while you're working on your project. Focus on doing your best work and being proud of it because you like it. Just finish. It will raise your self-esteem and make you feel invincible. And inevitably, this will lead to another finished product. You will gain momentum, and that will lead to confidence. If you don't like where you live or your city has become too toxic, then find a way to move. Don't be afraid of change or relocation, and listen to your intuition. It can be fun, actually, and if you can't afford it now, you can still set your intention and then work toward it. You are not stuck. It only feels like that sometimes, but moving from the city to the beautiful countryside is a really good choice right now. I've done it myself. Do you love what you're doing? Are you passionate about your job? And do you feel like you are contributing to the uplift of humanity? Sometimes just doing something for the money can be a real bummer. So even if you have to keep your passion projects in the background while you make a living right now, that's fine. But you can work toward it becoming your job eventually and taking over. Even if the pace is slow, it gives you a reason to wake up in the morning. That is the ultimate goal, to be self-actualized, love what you're doing, and contribute toward the world becoming a better place. Because right now we need that more than anything, and so do you. We all need it, unfortunately, to survive. Maybe one day we can take 10 of our friends and start a community without money and create an old school bartering system and live in a treehouse community connected by suspension bridges. That's my dream, actually. Anybody want to help me build that? But until then, yeah, I guess we need this stuff. So try a Kickstarter crowdfunding project. Try selling some old stuff. Get rid of your cable. But no matter what you do, don't allow yourself to constantly worry about it. Address it, yes. Plan, fine. But worry about it, no. It will only compound the problem and make it worse. I know because I've done it 1,000 times. But the cliche is true. Worry only begets more worry. And if I had an extra million, I'd throw it your way. It's only energy, after all, and that's what we're comprised of. That's what we are. That's what money is. Just energy. Find a problem you notice in the world. Then find a way to counter that problem with your own solution, however small, however humble. Then do that thing. You can't remove all the evil from the world. You can't solve all of the problems, but you can focus on one and proactively contribute toward the solution. And that act of contributing changes your whole energy. and changes your life. I'm not saying bury your head in the sand or just pretend to be happy, not at all. But I am saying stop playing that video in your head of what the coworker thinks of you at work and what they have to say to you on Monday and how you're going to solve the problem. Forget about this hypothetical minutia. Other people's opinions are not nearly as important as we're taught to believe. Screw it. Write a song, make a video, go back to working on one of those projects that we're talking about. Here's the thing. I hope even one of these things helps you. I hope it makes you feel better. I believe you are worth a great deal more than you even know. You are not wrong in your assessment that the world seems crazy, but you are not. You are a natural, organic human being in a post-human world, and it's tough sometimes. It's hard for me too. But you are not alone. I'm with you energetically, but you are here for a reason, and we need your contribution to the world. Remember, the truth is good even when the news is bad. This is Jeff Bird with Radio Mysterium.